fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
Let's rodeo at the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, January 10th and 11th at Wells Fargo Arena. It's rodeo and a whole lot more. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. See more action, the best entertainment, and be part of the fun. It's too great to wait. Get tickets now at HighVTix.com. It's wild, it's Western, it's pro rodeo at the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, January 10th and 11th.
Attention all campers.
Keith Murphy.
What I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
Andy Fales.
I'm telling you straight, it's my way or the highway.
Powered by AD.
Just a bit outside.
Murph and Andy. Proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru and BMW of Des Moines. Live and on demand across Iowa everywhere from the Channel Seed Studios. Murph and Andy. Connected by Cellular Advantage.
It is Murph and Andy live on Iowa everywhere alongside Andy Fales and Andrew Downs. I'm Keith Murphy. We're in the Channel Seed Studios and it is Friday. A lot ahead, but Andy, first off, hell of a story on Cyclone Darth Vader last night. Really well done, and somehow the story is both heartbreaking and uplifting at the same time.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is a really good story, and it's one of those things where it kind of rang a bell a little bit as we got going, and then as we really delved into the story, we realized that we knew Troy DeJoty. We have covered his story kind of since it started, the tragic story of his family being hit in the car, and had kind of lost track of him, and just as a reminder of what a small world it can be, it turns out that the guy in the Darth Vader costume walking around up at Iowa State was him. So I thought that was kind of cool.
And I had no idea. I didn't connect those dots, partly because when we saw him at the tailgate, we could not see his face. Mm-hmm. And he was coming over to say how much he enjoyed us being on Iowa Everywhere, and that he listened to two guys in the Cyclone Sunday, Iowa Everywhere fan. And I just thought that was a really nice thing to say. We had our photo taken, did not put together any of all of that. And it was just an organic way it came out. It's just all so cool. And if you missed the story, you can go to WHO13.com and watch it. It's worth the 3 minutes.
Got a little dusty
Yes.
this morning watching that.
Yeah.
That was a really well done story, Andy.
It'll get to anybody, but if you have kids
man,
anywhere in that age range, you just cannot imagine, and you don't want to imagine. So well done there. Sports and more coming up, including Penn State puts on a wrong way clinic. Why not? Brendan Sullivan. And Sipker brings ZILF to life. But right now it's high or low since the last show. High or Low brought to you by Wealth Charter in Ankeny. Simplifying wealth. The key word when you deal with Wealth Charter in Ankeny is simplify. Andy, high or low?
I'm going to go high so I can get a chance to mention this. So the day before yesterday, on Thursday, I did another fun story and got a chance to go and cover the Cyclone men's basketball team as they fulfilled one of their We Will collective obligations and went down to the Pioneer Columbus Community Center on the south side of Des Moines. Now, I say that's an obligation of theirs. They are expected to do 10 or so appearances a year. But this is one that it didn't seem like any sort of an obligation at all. This was the Cyclone men's basketball team teaching basketball to first graders in Des Moines, and it was a real kick to watch that. It was really fun. As the second year that they did it, our good friend Ben Page, who's the Parks and Rec director in at the city of Des Moines is the one that came up with that idea. TJ Otzelberger loved it. Brent Bloom loved it. And the players have loved it. Last year, there were quite a few players there. This year, all of the players were there. And it was
awesome.
media day down in Kansas City. And they still came right there and did it. We had just heard Taman Lipsy on the radio earlier in the day, and on with Chris and Chris. And I thought, well, he's not going to come right from Kansas City to this event. He'll probably go back to campus. No, he came to that event, and it was really, really cool. There were, a few hundred first graders running around, and then all of the Cyclone starters, and a couple of things. First of all, seeing the new players up close, Cyclone fans are going to be interested. They have added a lot of serious size. I mean, there are some big dudes. Deshaun Jackson is a big man. Seeing JT Rock in person, 7'1".
He's bulked up too. They've put some muscle on him.
He has bulked up. Seeing Nate Heisey there with the Cyclones, he is bulked up as well. Taman Lipsy has put on a ton of muscle, and Milan Momcilovic may be the most bulked up. I mean, he has really added a lot to his frame. But all of these guys just suddenly forgetting that they're supposed to be the adults in the room, and they were running around screaming with the kids and just having the best time. It was really authentic. It was really fun. And, a lot of these two things about these kids, I mean, a lot of them will never get a chance to go up to Hilton Coliseum and see the Cyclones play or see them play anywhere but television. But you reach these kids at this age, we were all that age at one point, they're probably going to be Cyclone fans for life, no matter what their parents think at this point. They connected with the Cyclones when they were the number 5 ranked team in the country. This is just good PR for Iowa State.
It's really smart. Keyshawn Gilbert in particular looked like he was having an absolute blast. What a charismatic young man that is. So that's a really good high. I'm going to do a high and a low. I'm going to start with a low because it is an absolute bummer. We all know and agree that cancer sucks. And man, were we reminded of that this week in the broadcasting community. Brad Pouch, longtime sports director at KCAU in Sioux City. If you're watching on YouTube, as many of you are, and more of you are all the time, you see a photo right now. That's Brad on the screen left with Mark Freund, who worked for Brad for 5 or 6 years and just thinks the world of Brad as a boss, as a friend. And Brad died earlier this week from brain cancer. And he's just 58 years old, has a lovely family. He's, Andy, you know this, as nice of a guy as you could ever come across. And he went to Iowa State, and he loved his Cyclones. But just an absolute gut punch to lose Brad. Also, today we learned from sportscaster Gary Sharp over in Nebraska. Gary posted this photo, and Matt Kelly, who worked here at WI in Des Moines, died today from colon cancer after a long battle. He had just entered hospice. That is Matt in the middle of the screen if you're watching us right now, the larger of the two men with microphones there. And Matt worked for John Walters at WOI and was a really good player back in as an athlete too back in his day. So, man, that's a tough 1-2 punch in 1 week right there, Andy. And both of them around your age, younger than me.
Matt Kelly, I believe I took his job at WOI. He moved out of town. He went over and worked in Lincoln, and it was that opening that brought me to Des Moines, brought me back to Des Moines. Obviously, I went to college here, but I believe that's our connection there. And then Brad Pouch, we knew for so long. We called him Sponge Brad Square Pouch. Because he was just a wonderful guy. Always one of those guys that, we always had other sports directors or other sports departments calling us, asking us for video and to help them.
Bigger staff. We're in the middle of the state.
Yeah, but
for the reasons we understand. But yes.
Yeah, but it was a pain in the ass. I mean, it always was. You were really nice about it, and I used to get sick of it. But I mean, Brad would always insist. He always kind of knew that he was asking us to do extra work, and he always wanted to help us whenever he could and repay us for that. And he always did. And so it was always a pleasure to help Brad in any way that we could. First of all, because he was just such a nice guy. But second of all, I mean, the guy, I mean, remember that? I mean, he would come to town and be like, what other games could I shoot for you? You know, we're all trying to help each other, but he was always so conscious. I hate asking other people for stuff, you know, and
Right.
he was always so conscious of that. So he was always doing whatever he could to return the favor, or to prepay, you know, on things, to pay things forward. He was just that kind of guy. And I know, man, this really rocked Freund off his skis.
I know.
You know, I think this was the first, I think we all have a favorite boss from our early years of working, or like somebody where we didn't know what the hell we were doing. And we had a really good boss who really just kind of took you under their wing and was patient. And that was Brad with Mark. So
No doubt.
my heart goes out to Mark, to Brad and his nice family. And I know he struggled with this for a long time, and I'm sad to lose him.
And Matt did something that I've tried to do in my life, but I thought it was really cool. I always remember my last conversation with Matt, which wasn't that long ago, but he was a guy that was looking back on his 20s and just with some regret that he was, you know, easily angered at times. And sometimes he felt like he should have been kinder, or, you know, wishes
He was very competitive.
he was very competitive, and like he looked me up to just talk to me about that and say, hey, man, wish I had handled that differently. I've learned a lot. I've grown up. And that's what we should all do. You know, you get wiser as you get older, and the things that used to seem so important to you aren't as important now. And I think when Matt started to get sick, he really took even another step toward, all right, I want to circle back and, you know, just kind of like, my name is Earl, contact anybody that I thought, I wish I had treated that person
Kind of like a 12-step program where he's making amends. Yeah.
And just so awesome. And we had such a nice conversation. We were laughing, and it was just wonderful. And it was like a gift to me too. That's why I do that when I can think of somebody I need to reach out to, because it makes that person feel better too.
Because it kind of weighed on you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, I really appreciate
nice.
that. And we will miss Brad and Matt. So I'm going to go to a high here just to pivot us out of that downer here on a Friday.
Drinking. Yeah.
I had date night at the Palms. Jenny and I went date night. Jenny's choice. She suggested a movie because she thought this Speak No Evil movie with James McAvoy. It's a thriller. It's kind of a edge of your seat type thing. And it was good. They gave way too much away in the trailer. I hate that they do that. We knew the whole plot going in. Wish they hadn't done that. But we went to the Palms where we like to go. And Andy, we had the theater to ourselves. No one else in there.
I thought for a second you were in like a living room or something, but yeah, they have some of the smaller theaters there that are like that. Oh yeah, it's great.
The movie's finishing its run, so we were kind of the last ones probably to even attempt to see it in a theater, but we had it to ourselves. And Jenny, once we figured this out, we would just talk to each other in a normal voice there in the theater, you know, like, yeah, why by now wouldn't they have figured out to get in the car and just drive away and stay away? Yeah, that's kind of stupid. You know, we were talking to each other like that, and it was fun. All right, you can interact with us on YouTube. Email Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. On X, it's Murph_Andy. It's all powered by Cellular Advantage. Us days are back. Fantastic deals on devices and accessories. All 32 Cellular Advantage stores. Right now, on a Friday, Murph and Andy, let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
It is Hawkeye homecoming, coming up 2:30 game. I think fans are hungry for a 2:30 game at both Iowa State and Iowa. 2:30 game, good time. Iowa is the heavy favorite despite the turd in the punch bowl at Michigan State last week. This game is at Kinnick Stadium. There are many concerns with Iowa right now at 4-3, mostly relative to the expectations of the season. Biggest one being what's going on with the defense, because I think all of us in the media and Hawkeye fans, we've just come to maybe have expectations of Iowa's defense being elite every year, because it mostly has been. And it's taken a big step back this year. And that's a concern. The offense, new offensive coordinator, the sets look better. The motion looks better. There's a great All-American running back in the backfield. But Cade McNamara's play is still below what you would expect from a Big Ten quarterback. And taking Kirk Ferentz at his word, he thinks that McNamara gives them a better chance to win than Northwestern transfer Brendan Sullivan.
Yeah, and that's the end of it. and none of us are surprised by that. I don't know that we're probably disappointed, but we're also used to it at this point. I don't think we expected anything different, but I don't know. I mean, last week's game was definitely a reality check and put the ceiling on the season, but the season isn't so far gone. It's not gone. I mean, it's not so far gone right now that the fan base can't get a noticeable lift out of this game. I mean, this is still a potential feel a whole lot better game, feel good game, get well game. If they put the smack down on Northwestern and you see good things from Cade McNamara and the defense this weekend, you're going to leave that stadium feeling a hell of a lot better. That's just the way it works. We get ourselves so down. Oh man, all of these things are just out of reach now. And you know what? Come on, man. Really, we know how this goes. Mm-hmm. Your recency bias is so great, right? You are so affected by things that you just saw that you've done this before. You can go into that stadium on Saturday, see a really, you see good things from the units that you saw bad things from in the Michigan State game, and you're going to feel maybe not 100% better, but you're going to feel 75% better, and you're going to understand that there's still a lot of things in reach for this season. And look, man, if all else fails, fall back on the absolute truth that is you love watching football. Mm-hmm. Go have fun on a beautiful weather day on a Saturday. Is that homecoming at Iowa?
It is homecoming. Yeah, we have two sons who are alums, so we're going tailgating. We're going to the game. They're all excited. It's a little bit cooler, but still 60 is the projected temperature and sunny at kickoff in late October.
Good. We're game for a fall feeling game. Yeah, we're all right.
Absolutely take that. Back to McNamara for a moment. Murph and Andy X site, Twitter site, posted video of Brendan Sullivan just throwing a deep pass down the sideline when he was the Northwestern quarterback, and it's probably 50, 55 yards in the air, and it is a pass that Cade McNamara cannot make. Now, Sullivan is more mobile. He has a stronger arm without question. There must be something they're seeing in practice that's holding back, because they're putting him in. It's not like they're not playing him, but they're not playing him, giving him drives to see what he can do. Cade McNamara's longest pass of the season is 33 yards. 33 yards is his longest pass. You have to be able to stretch the defense more than that. Caleb Johnson has 1,000 yards despite Iowa's passing game, again being mostly ineffective. And that leads us to a Quickie Poll. It's presented by WCI Pools and Spas.
Iowa's 5-year struggle at quarterback is mainly due to recruiting, development, playing the wrong guy, or the offensive scheme.
This is a really good question. This is
offensive
a really
scheme
good one.
loses some steam here because the scheme is clearly improved this year. It looks more modern. There's more motion. There's more changing of the sets. Development, undoubtedly. I mean, I think most people would say it's all of these, of course, but you're asking to say what is the most? Recruiting is clearly a problem too. I know some of the quarterbacks are looking better when they go elsewhere, but mostly not. Mostly no one's setting the world on fire once they leave Iowa and transfer somewhere else. Yeah, it's and 5-year struggle. Good choice of the time period, because how much better does Nate Stanley look these days?
Yeah, you wish you had Nate Stanley overthrowing wide open guys downfield. Like that was the only problem he had.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, there's more than one good choice, as good quickie polls tend to have. But
what do you think? What's your main choice?
I mean, I don't know that. How could it not be development? And these guys get in here and they just don't get any better. I mean, they don't. No matter when they come in, if they transfer in or if they're brought in as recruits, their best year tends to be their first. Nate Stanley was the same way. I mean, it was like these guys. It probably goes back farther than that.
Yeah, even the really good quarterbacks they've had in the past. Yeah. I mean, C.J. Beathard's best season was his first as a starter. Ricky Stanzi's best season was his first as a starter.
I mean, that happens. I think Brock Purdy's best season was his sophomore year. But, I mean, guys, things happen. They get injuries. The rest of the league figures them out. But I just think that it's so much more pronounced with Kirk Ferentz's offense. It just seems like the quarterback consistently gets worse the longer they stay there.
I want to give the fans a little bit of a credit here too, and some of the media. Playing the wrong guy has been an issue. I mean, the fans have been right. When they have wanted the other guy, what time weren't they right about the other guy?
Alex Padilla wasn't any better, I don't think.
Yeah, it was at least mobile. Certainly Linez came in last year during the Citrus Bowl after one of the most uncomfortable halves of football a quarterback has ever played from Deacon Hill. And Linez wasn't accurate passing, but at least he could run. He did energize the bowl game some. But Beathard,
the problem is I think fans could probably go all the way back to Brad Banks here.
Yeah, they wanted Banks over McCann.
McCann, yeah, right. And that went back and forth. I mean, he would come in and then go back out again. So that was a little bit different then, but I think that's probably where they start their argument. But then you could go to Stanzi and Beathard and, I mean, it's just that's the problem when you have one coach the whole time. It's like you can link all of the bad stuff that's ever happened under him together, right? I mean, and whether if there actually is a connection or not, maybe you don't know, but I mean, there's at least one connection.
Rudock was a good quarterback, but Beathard was better and has.
Well, Rudock was also one of those guys that left and got better.
And had a short period of time in the NFL, but Beathard is still in the NFL playing for the Dolphins now. Grimaldi's fan photo winner, $50 gift card to Christine Megason. This is a photo from Halloween 2011 when it was, she says, still hard to be a Cyclone fan. Christine's 50th birthday today. And Andy, they're going to celebrate Christine's birthday over at the West Des Moines Grimaldi's location.
Yeah, see Mini Paul Rhodes there in the front. And she also said her husband only had a minor panic attack when he couldn't get that red paint off his face.
I would panic.
Only a minor one?
Yeah, I'd be full on.
What did he use, like latex or something?
That's a good question.
Yeah, make sure the
oil-based
paint can wipe off. That happened to Sears on Sound Off once. We didn't have eye black, so someone suggested just using a bunch of
like a Sharpie
eyeliner type stuff, and a bunch of that is hard to get off. And Sears was wiping that off for several days.
But yeah, she said the two older kids here are now in college. They're coming home for the weekend, so they're going to go celebrate at Grimaldi's.
So when AD says you can send a photo from anywhere about anything, this is proof. Yeah. This is a 13-year-old photo, but a happy birthday to Christine. Enjoy your Grimaldi's pizza and the pizza experience. I know you will. Send the fan photos to Murph_Andy at IowaEverywhere.com. We'll pick a new $50 gift card winner every Friday on the Fun Friday show. Jamie Pollard put out sent a letter to fans, and I've made sure that this was from Jamie Pollard. You have to be careful these days. It was. And among things in the letter to fans and to students, quote, past several games, we have unfortunately experienced a significant increase in rude, arrogant, and belligerent behavior by some of our fans. Whoa, strong language. Back to quoting. Typically result of individuals being intoxicated and has resulted in ugly confrontations. Again, that's from Jamie Pollard. Andy, he is, in the lengthy letters, he is asking for more civil behavior that get away from these fights. And I personally did witness some water bottles coming from the top deck, landing near security guards. And I was really surprised by that. And I know the bottles.
I think that probably has something to do with this, right? Because
probably
Texas had that
game.
problem,
Yep.
and Sarkisian had to come out.
Nip it in the bud type thing. But a plastic water bottle half full or full hurled from the upper deck, you hit somebody in the head with that, it still could hurt. Pollard is careful to point out that there have been no injuries. Nobody's been injured, just wants to keep it that way. I think this goes right back to the old debate that some have, where I think with Jamie Pollard, this probably confirms to him this is why we don't sell alcohol stadium-wide. But I think others feel like and can cite examples from other universities where they have said they actually had a decrease in belligerent behavior because it did away with some of the at the entrance binge drinking that we've all seen many times. You'll get as much alcohol in you before you go in. The sneaking in of alcohol certainly is more prevalent when you can't buy it at many places in the stadium. But I think this is probably, I think Pollard would see this differently. I don't mean to speak for him, but based on what he said to us in the past, I think he would see this as a reason why you don't sell alcohol stadium-wide.
He would say he worries that that'll just add to the problem. I mean, the problem is everybody is already drunk when they go in. If you're getting
night
drunk,
games
you're getting
too.
drunk. Yeah. I mean,
this probably a lot of this is night games.
It doesn't matter when they hold the game. Okay, the fans are going to get drunk if they want to get drunk.
But there's more time to get even more drunk. Don't you think it's worse at night? I mean, the worst fan experience we've ever had at a Cyhawk game was a night game.
All I'm saying is, theoretically, we've had some bad experiences with the morning games, Murph. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've had drunkenness everywhere at every time zone.
It doesn't matter. You could hold it at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday and have, the people are still going to be drunk. I mean, theoretically, it makes more sense. The night game, you got all day, but look, it doesn't matter when you hold it. They'll just get up earlier and start drinking earlier. This is going to happen. And, I can understand a little bit if he thinks that, this maybe helps keep a lid on it to a bit. But, I mean, then you let them go outside at halftime, though, and get re-drunk. So, either way, it's going to happen. So, I mean, what you do is you set a strong example, a firm example, and say, look, you do this, you are kicked out for the rest of the season. You are not coming back in here.
Some Texas students have learned that.
You kick somebody, you kick a Cyclone fan out of this season, that is a severe punishment.
That's a
they
deterrent.
want to see the rest of this season. And that's what you do. You call them out, you find out who they are, and then you bring down the hammer. It is too bad. You know what I did hear what I did hear on Saturday night as we left the game is that the Central Florida players were really giving it to the fans over on that side of the field, like the ones sitting behind the bench, that they were really, really engaging with them. And it was like pretty bad, the language and the taunting, and it was going back and forth. We had some friends sitting over there and they were just like, those Central Florida players are not good people. And I was like, all right, well, they're getting a little fired up, but they were just way too into that. And
they thought they were going to win.
Yeah. And I can't imagine a coach being okay with that. Like, no matter who it is. I mean, Gus Malzahn may have some, different values or whatever, but I mean, I can't imagine a coach being okay with the players engaging with the fans behind the bench. I want
nothing good
my
comes
players
out of that.
ignoring the fans completely. Can you imagine how bad that would be at Kinnick? But I heard that they really were into that. I wonder if this has anything to do with that. And they were really, really going back and forth with the fans over there.
Iowa State, of course, has the weekend off before playing homecoming against Texas Tech. 2:30 day game next week, and Iowa State will still be undefeated at kickoff. Wanted to ask your opinion and AD's opinion. It seems to me like Cyclone Sunday on Iowa Everywhere and Instant Iowa on Iowa Everywhere, both really successful shows. I've seen the numbers, and wow, people are consuming these shows, and we're glad for that. But it seems to me, my theory is this: Cyclone Sunday with Ben Bruns and Aiden Wyatt, I think it gets more popular and more tune in as the Cyclones win. Instant Iowa, I think it gets more popular as the Hawkeyes lose. It seems to me like Hawkeye fans are more prone to hate watch or hate listen than Cyclone fans. AD, you buy that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 100% true. It's been true for a long time. It's why I, as an optimistic Iowa fan, feel like I'm in the minority more often than not. But no, people like to complain, especially with a coach who's been there for 26 years. And so I guess I can't speak to the Cyclone side of things, but as an Iowa fan, it absolutely, people stay engaged and they talk about it more when they're upset. I mean, Chris Hass is a great example.
Yeah, I saw the numbers last weekend, Andy, and like a big surge for the Cyclones and Cyclone Sunday, the amount of people who watched or listened to that, and a big surge for Instant Iowa. Yeah. One team won and one team lost.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cyclone fans can't get enough. They want to do nothing but talk about their football team right now, and we all get that. And and Ben Bruns does a good job of breaking that down as an insider, and Aiden does a really good job of teeing them up too. I mean, that's an art. Hawkeye fans have higher expectations. Cyclone fans are not going to take that well, but when I say that, but I mean, think about it. I mean, they have,
bring your history with you.
Yeah, they have higher expectations. Cyclone fans, this will make you feel better if I put it this way. Hawkeye fans are more entitled than Cyclone fans are. Okay. I mean, they are, and they think that their team should be doing better than it is. And that's fair to say. And I don't think they're being unreasonable there. They certainly expect more out of their defense. They expect more out of an expensive quarterback, and they expect more after they've made a change in the offensive coordinator position. And they expect more out of a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, they just do. And so when they don't see that, they get pissed. And Zach, I don't blame them.
Zach brings up another good point. As a Cyclone, I only watch Instant Iowa if Iowa loses.
That probably
we get a lot of Schadenfreude on those shows. Our two biggest shows have been the Iowa State game and the Michigan State game.
Did not realize that, but anecdotally, it sure felt like that after this weekend. All right, Penn State puts on a clinic of how not to handle another PR crisis. Two former Penn State football players are accused of raping a 17-year-old girl in her apartment July 7th. Penn State suspended the players, Kavion Keys and Jameel Lyons, in August. They've since been removed from the team. They're now facing charges and ugly allegations that were made public this week, and reporters asked James Franklin to address.
Guys, how we doing?
This is obviously a serious and sensitive subject. I know Greg read that, but we haven't heard anything from you on this.
John, we released the university statement. All right, do I need to read the statement again?
If you would like.
All right. Regarding the two former Penn State football players, we released a statement yesterday, and our program and athletic department will have no further comment. If you need the statement, please reach out to me or Chris.
Hey guys, any questions?
James, at what point in the summer were you aware that these guys were not going to be on the team?
Again, guys, the university already released a statement. If you need the statement, reach out to me or Chris. We'll have no further comment.
Are there questions about Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There are questions about Wisconsin. Please keep your questions to Wisconsin.
Hey, guys.
Just a really bad look for Penn State for several reasons. Explain why here quickly. One is the spokesman seems annoyed, is terse,
Is that
is
the
almost
sports information
scolding.
director or something?
I
Who is
believe
that?
so. It's like scolding the reporters. The
He's
second part
angry.
is Franklin's body language and choice to like walk all the way almost behind the canvas.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with this. This isn't about me. I'll step out of the way.
Really bad look. And I think it's important to point out, Andy, no one is suggesting that James Franklin go out there and freestyle his thoughts on a rape case, alleged rape case. That would be a mistake. But this is something that seems so easy to know how to handle. You have Franklin come out and he could read the statement, or he can just say, I know many of you have questions, but we can't comment on an active legal case. Like, just handle it in a way that looks respectful and
Like a human being.
transparent.
Yeah.
Like a human being. You could even say, I'm sure an attorney would allow you to say some things that don't jeopardize the case, that show you to be a human being. Things like, well, we find these allegations deeply disturbing, and of course we're troubled, and our number one concern is for the young woman who is, been traumatized by this allegation, that kind of thing. You could say something. You don't have to hide behind the legal ramifications of this case. But even if you don't want to say anything but no comment, can't comment, let James Franklin do that and tell your spokesman to not look pissed off that you're having to deal with this inconvenience. That's what it seems like to him. Oh, inconvenience. I have to deal with rape allegations on two of our players. And then on top of all this, Andy, this is Penn State. How can Penn State still be this tone deaf?
I don't know. I cannot believe they are. Clearly, they are back to feeling above it all, above the law, too big to fail.
They didn't suffer that many consequences the first time. Joe Paterno got all those wins back. I mean, they didn't get the death penalty.
Would James Franklin would he advise his son to act this way?
No.
Would you?
I would hope not.
If you had somebody that you cared about that came up and said, "Hey, how should I handle this?" Is this how you would tell them to handle this? I mean, like to act like this? I mean, it's so clearly a bad look. These guys are too far inside. They are too too close to the TV.
They're in the bubble
to see it right now. Yeah, they're in the bubble. You have to have somebody outside the bubble saying, look, man, I mean, what are you talking about here? You're talking about two of your players allegedly raping a woman on campus. That's serious stuff, man. That's like the stuff that keeps people from sending their kids to that college. That's the stuff that ruins programs. It's the stuff that ruins coaches. You're not being inconvenienced being asked about this. This isn't just the media that wants to know about this.
And again, we understand it's a pending legal case. There are some things you can't address, but you can still be a human being, as you put it, Andy. It's a bad look for Penn State. World Series starts tonight. It's Yankees versus Dodgers. This is the most frequent matchup in the history of Major League Baseball. And you have arguably the two biggest stars in the game right there. You can see them on your screen if you're watching us. Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge.
Yeah, in my mind, clearly the two biggest stars, and the two biggest brands. I mean, the Cardinals is the biggest brand, but these would be second and third.
Oh, the Giants are the biggest brand in the NL West. Let's be honest.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, this is what Major League Baseball needs. This is a good thing. I hope it's a really good series. I mean, I don't care about either one of these teams, but I do care about baseball. And when it's, the Rangers and who was it last year? The Rangers and the Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I could not have cared less about that.
This
matchup.
will double or triple.
This is
number.
literally the opposite of that matchup in my mind. These are two teams that I don't care about, but I am still drawn to this series just because of the brands and the players that are involved.
Here's some fun now with audio and video. It's a Hall of Fame TV moment, Andy. I got this one for you. A man is waiting for a job interview, and the BBC somehow gets it mixed up, mistakes him for an expert waiting to appear on the BBC talk show.
Well, Guy Cooney is the editor of the technology website News Wireless. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Were you surprised by this verdict today?
I'm very surprised to see this verdict to come on me, because I was not expecting that. When I came, they told me something else, and I'm coming. You got an interview there, so it's a big surprise anyway.
A big surprise.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
I was here to interview for a job in the HR department.
And the guy, God bless him, he's not quite sure. Is this the job interview?
Yeah.
Do I just return serve here? Because I have no idea what this woman is talking about. So for a while,
probably an intern in the back, just like in charge of keeping the people straight. Yeah. Letting people in the door and showing them the right direction. He showed the wrong person into the wrong door.
Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. Another beautiful weekend to grab a Confluence. And gosh, man, I have to work tonight.
That looks like Van Winkle has been over at Confluence.
Yeah, that looks.
Yeah, look at that. That's
looks
a beautiful
good.
shot.
You can still use the patio too.
Oh, yeah, that was when we were there. That's right. Okay, we were doing the show over there. That wasn't too long ago.
We were. It's late October. You can still get a beer on the patio. How about that? Time now for Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto brings you Throwdowns each and every day. We appreciate it. Murph, Iowa is a heavy favorite tomorrow against Northwestern, but a run-of-the-mill win won't satisfy many fans who are starting to check out on the season, although not check out on Instant Iowa. What needs to happen tomorrow to get Iowa fans feeling good about the rest of the season?
Announcement from the Big Ten that Iowa's replaying the Michigan State game.
Afraid that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so.
This is a realistic, theoretical question.
Yeah. No, I know. I think just what you saw against Washington, just a completely dominant game. The defense looks like an Iowa defense again, and the quarterback makes enough plays to show that it's going to get better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you want to feel better about the things that you're feeling bad about going into the game. I mean, if somehow, let's say, Cade McNamara had the flu and Sullivan came in and was great, that would make Iowa fans feel better than probably anything else. But
I think even like a flu or something like that for Cade, that wouldn't do it, because it would be forcing Kirk Ferentz's hand. Honestly, the only way it happens.
I'm trying to help you, man. Jeez.
I think the only way it happens is Cade McNamara comes out, looks terrible in the first drive. They punt for the 8th straight time on their first possession, and he gets a quick hook. And somehow the decision is made to pull Cade McNamara. Brendan Sullivan comes in because Cade McNamara is not playing well, and leads the team to a dominant win, looks good in all phases, and it looks like now the future is Brendan Sullivan, and the next 4 games are going to be him at quarterback. You know he's the starter going into next season. I think that's the one hope Iowa has for the fans to kind of stay fully engaged right now, is to start looking ahead to next year and play these last 5 games as though they're a preview of that.
Okay, well, but I was trying to be realistic here, Andrew, and saying,
gotcha.
Okay, and I think a flu bug is a lot more realistic than,
I think you're right about
that
that
happening to you. As a matter of fact, here are some other things that are more realistic. Cade McNamara on his way to the stadium is bitten by an alligator that comes up out of the Cedar River there.
In Iowa City, big
yeah,
problem.
in Iowa, right. He's abducted by aliens. they tell everybody that, look, he's gone the rest of the season. Well, we're not going to hurt him, but he's gone the rest of the season. And then Sullivan comes in.
Appreciate
Those are
it.
more realistic.
They are, unfortunately. All right, Andy, Deshaun Watson is a bad guy. He's also now a bad quarterback with potentially the worst contract in NFL history. When he went down with an Achilles injury Sunday, many Browns fans cheered, which upset some other players like Jameis Winston. Do you have a problem with the Browns fans reacting the way they did?
It was too much. I mean, they're chanting, "You deserve this," and we have some friends who are Browns fans, and I'm telling you, they are so sick of this franchise and so annoyed at Deshaun Watson, and they can't stand him. And they actually sent me a video from the stands where they were, I'm sure, participating in it. And look, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's not dead. He'll be okay. It just seemed like, if you give him the Bronx cheer as he's being carted off the field, I probably could let that slide. But that was like a really big collected "you deserve this" chant in that stadium. So to me, that was too much. I don't feel like I could be on board with this and be a good person.
Yeah, it's not what I would
makes
do.
it hard to say you're okay with it after Andy puts it that way.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
not okay with it.
Did you hear it? I mean, it was like
it was.
Yeah,
it
did, and it
wasn't
shows
just a few people.
It shows how this probably will go down as the worst decision a franchise has ever made, to give him all that guaranteed money despite all the lawsuits and accusations hanging out there. I completely get why the fans are frustrated. If we could just remove the torn Achilles from this, you understand if he's like pulled out or if they just want to boo him. But like booing an injury or "you deserve this," that's not what I would do. I do understand why the fans feel that frustrated. But the biggest takeaway I had is the outrage from the Jameis Winstons and Myles Garretts and some of the players was way over the top and completely missing the point of why those fans are frustrated. And it's not just Deshaun Watson's play. It's some of what Deshaun Watson is accused of in multiple lawsuits and allegations.
Yeah, you're
Many
right. Like
dozen.
The Jameis Winston of, well, he's been to practice every day and working really hard for you
It's his
people.
job.
It's like,
It's what you're
and
supposed
also,
to do.
No Browns fan would have signed up for this contract or trading
No.
for him anyway.
No.
It wasn't like they had a choice.
We're not even second guessing. We
They
first
were in
guessed
the
how
crash
bad and stupid
position.
this was.
They were in the crash position from the moment this was announced.
All right, Murph, you've both attended college football games in every way imaginable, from the stands, luxury boxes, press boxes, sidelines. Where's the best place to sit during a college football game?
For me, it's on about the 20-yard line, but not down low, like 20-yard line lower deck, but toward the upper part of the lower deck. And yes, you're taking a chance that some of the significant action could happen away from you. But the problem with the 50-yard line is that you often are just in the middle of the scoring, so you don't ever have a great view of a significant touchdown or a goal line stand or something like that. The angles in the end zones aren't great. Up high, you're probably a little too far away. So that's the sweet spot for me. I would always pick being with the fans versus a box or a luxury suite. Although I am a hypocrite if it's really
South
cold
end zone
or
was pretty
raining.
nice.
If it's really cold or raining, I'm a total hypocrite.
Yeah, that south end zone will ruin you because, I mean, not only is there a bar, there's just space, right? I mean, it's just it's built for today. I'm just going to stick with 50-yard line though, 15 rows up. First of all, I don't think I've ever actually sat in those seats for a meaningful big football game at the college or pro level. I've pretty much always had shitty seats or it's been standing on the sideline or something. I mean, I've had so many different seats in a football stadium throughout my life. It's almost ironic that I've never had the best seat. I mean, sometimes I've had luxury box seats, but I've never had 50-yard line seats, outside. So, but
sounds like you're hanging an ad out there. Get me to the 50
I mean, you are right. You're in the middle of the row, and it's hard to get in and out of there. But still, I would like to have just that vantage point. I mean, we were all the way down on one end last weekend, and that's kind of hard. I feel like I've had that similar seat a number of times. And when you're like openly, wishing for the quarter to end so you can improve your view of the field, I always feel like that's kind of a bummer.
50-yard line at Kinnick, you watch a lot of punts. It's just, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey, save that for Instant Iowa.
That's Throwdowns.
All right. Our title sponsor is BMW of Des Moines and Ramsey Subaru. And Ramsey Subaru is having a pet adoption with A. Hines 57. It's coming up tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And this is a great event with people, A. Hines 57, we know, who do a great job. We've rescued several dogs from there, and it's just a wonderful place. Jenny used to be a volunteer at A. Hines 57. So, Andy, I know you take your family out to this, and makes you feel good.
Yeah, we're going to go tomorrow, and as you said, there'll be a food truck there, and we're going to bring our dogs. It is Subaru is a really pet-friendly company, and their cars are the best for dog owners, big dog owners. You put the dogs in the back. They've got, all sorts of protections up so their nails don't scratch the interior. Subaru does that better than anybody, and I think you'll get a chance to just kind of see how your dog might look in the Subaru. What does it take? That's what Tyler Van Wielden will come out and be like, what does it take for us to put your dog in the Subaru today?
To put your dog in the Subaru.
No, it'll be a really fun event. And again, the weather's going to be really, really good. So it'll be kind of a party. It's not a long one, just a 2-hour event. So run over there if you can.
All right. Ready or not? Scott School.
Scott School. Scott School. Scott School is cool. Yeah.
Hi, Scott.
Terrible news. Look at this. My recorder isn't working.
Yeah, neither are your headphones.
Oh,
can you hear me?
You're supposed to be the tech guy.
I am.
There's a problem every week. I'm hearing my voice back.
I can hear an echo. Okay, watch this. I know how to fix this problem. Watch this, guys. There's a little thing, echo cancellation. How's that?
Well, it's not ideal, but it's better.
It's better.
I'll talk louder.
No, don't
Hi,
do
everybody.
that.
Okay, don't talk louder.
I don't understand how you have that really expensive looking microphone and it doesn't work.
It does work. I got this all tangled up. My recorder's not working.
Well, what difference
we
does
don't
that
need
make?
you to record. We just need your microphone to work.
We need.
I'm recording it, Scott. I'll send you a recording.
Listen, I have to get this microphone to this US crap. What's it called?
USB?
Thank you. No. XLR. There you go. This XLR has to run through here, so then it runs into the computer. See, that's
Scott School.
Hey, let me tell you about Scott School today.
Yes, please.
In 1941, a Swiss engineer named George, or maybe Jorge, not sure, he noticed how burrs stuck to his clothes and his dog's fur, to stay on the canine theme, when they would go on a walk. So he's like, wonder how that works. So he put it under a microscope and he saw these little hooks and latches. And he's like, I should turn this into a material. And that's how he created Velcro. And that's Scott School.
Scott School.
Scott School. Scott School is cool. Yeah.
I was a little nervous for a moment that AD had quit. Just
walked
off the job. And we would understand. All right, Scott, before we get into more, and we're going to get into more.
Yeah.
What in the actual hell is this?
Being a single zombie isn't that bad. As a ZILF, I've had my fair share of supernatural relationships. There was Vlad, who hated mornings. The fur everywhere with Rex was a nightmare. And don't even get me started on Gary. Gary, I've been thinking about taking this to the next level. Gary, it's way easier to just get things done on my own with a little help from Hoodoo. Now I just select the bid from someone to deep clean my oven instead of dealing with Vlad's garlic drama. Or I hire someone to organize my garage because honestly, that's way easier than unclogging the shop vac. And when the fog machine breaks, I don't need Gary disappearing on me mid-repair. Hoodoo's easier than any relationship I've ever had. Whether it's everyday chores or spooky odd jobs, Hoodoo's got you covered.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It's good to hear somebody getting good use out of the word ZILF.
Yes. Andy, I will never forget the day Andy created ZILF. And I was like, we got to use it somehow. I'm going to have a second part of that where it's going to be a ZILF support group. So there's just going to be a bunch of ZILFs in a room, like really having an issue. And then, of course, like a MILF's going to walk in the room and they'll be like, hey, the MILF meeting's down the hall and to the left.
AD, I would tell you to cut his mic, but he doesn't have one. So let's get some more.
But wait, there's more. From Either Or Eatery and Patio.
It is brought to you by Either Or Eatery and Patio. Andrew there just the other night. They had the new menu together, right?
Yeah, man. We so this is that's
the
new menu is all laminated,
tartare.
it's all nice. We got the jumbo crab cake that we shared, and it was awesome. This is just like a part of the jumbo crab cake. That was fantastic.
that
And then
looks
I got the porchetta sandwich. It's a little dark here. We sat out on the patio, even though it was a little chilly. They had the heaters on. The kids got to go out on the onto the playground, so that was awesome. The porchetta sandwich was fantastic.
I will try the new menu. Gosh, they switched that up quite a bit, and I noticed this because I'm there quite a bit.
Yeah, they switch it kind of up, switch it up with the seasons a little bit to keep it fresh.
Oh, wait.
Kind of like that.
Murph, you're at Either Or quite a bit? Because, man, I haven't got a text from you in a long time. And you're 3 blocks away.
Yeah, just
let's
don't
get
say
some more.
anything, Murphy. Pheasant season is open in Iowa. This weekend is the date for the adult hunters. Not expected to live up to last year's record numbers, but should still be very good, according to Todd Bogenschutz with the Iowa DNR.
Todd Bogenschutz?
He is the upland wildlife biologist there.
You got to admit, Andy, that sounds like one of the names you
Bogenschutz?
or Hassel would make up. Todd Bogenschutz?
Like Jason Wagon Connect. I got a text message from a high school friend that was listening that I was like, yeah, no, Jason really exists. So Iowa's still in better shape than it has been in the past as farmers are setting aside more and more acres for wildlife. And we had another kind of a mild winter, so the pheasants got off to another good start. Probably did lose some over the summer during the flooding, but still expected to be a really good pheasant season, and that's really
when
important.
you say the
Iowa's
pheasants
economy.
were off to a really good start, what does that mean, Andy?
They had a lot of sex.
They're alive.
Yep. Hatched a lot of chicks. Some of the chicks died, though. According to a survey by Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey, on average, people say kids should stop trick-or-treating when they are 13 and a half.
It's very specific.
So my daughter Elin is 13 and a half. She is going out. We said this should be her last year because she's in 8th grade. But I do like seeing that she likes it so much that she wants to keep going. But I think it's an important part of community, getting to know your neighbors. There are many instances where that's the only time that you see some of your neighbors.
One of my
on
neighbors,
Halloween.
Dr. DeRojas, ensured that I would not go back out because I went out as an Olympic athlete in a tracksuit with a gold medal on, and Dr. DeRojas said to me, "Aren't you a little old to be trick-or-treating?" And I was crushed by it. And
You also get to
didn't go
learn
back out.
which of your neighbors are such big assholes they can't even set a bag of candy out on the stoop for kids.
Some keep
Like,
their
come
lights
on.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Like, we
some,
know you're in
leave,
there.
Some leave the neighborhood. I mean, you are an asshole if you do this. Seriously, I can't believe that. You know who does that? Hassel.
What?
Hassel's whole neighborhood in the swanky suburb of Delray Beach, Florida.
Golf cart community?
Yeah, the golf cart community. They bring like food trucks. Everybody puts like inflatables in their front yard. They go all out for Halloween, and Hassel makes his lovely wife Kristen get the hell out of Dodge with him.
They hide in like the
leave.
back room.
They hide, but they can't stay in their house because Nori, their sweet dog, barks, and she wants to go see the kids, and Chris won't let her.
So he's like at a bar having old fashions?
Well, I was yelling at him last night about this because honestly it pissed me off and I'm very disappointed. But I was talking to him about it and I was like, because he was saying it on their show, he's like, no, I hate kids. I was like, you do not hate kids. I said, he's been around my kids since they were born. Like you're great with my kids.
Yeah,
and he
he's
goes,
good
no,
with
he goes,
kids.
let me clarify. I'll clarify. I like your kids. I only hate kids that I don't know. Oh, well, that makes everything better.
So he hates pregnant people, he hates kids, and he hates most adults.
And he has multiple successful shows. What does that say about people?
Well, he's a sociopath is what it says. Jesus
At least
Christ.
he has a microphone when he's on.
Come on, man. Go out for Halloween. We got next week to talk about Halloween. All right. The oldest person in the United States is dead. Elizabeth Francis of Houston died Tuesday at the age of 115 years old.
Wow.
115. I don't know if she
God,
celebrated
wow.
that.
She doesn't look a day over 114 there.
I hope.
Cut his mic.
Yeah.
If you can figure out
Is she
how.
in bed for the last birthday there? Oh, my God. 115. Christian Zaczek is now a millionaire thanks to being the man who walked out the door at Dodger Stadium with Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 baseball. Golden Auctions has announced the final sale price of the ball was a mind-blowing $4.3 million.
That does blow my mind, given that this was the 50-50 ball and the drop-off in interest in Major League Baseball is America's pastime. I mean, compared to, say, football. And just more than $4 million for that. I know it's worth whatever anybody's willing to pay for it, but wow.
That Japanese market is nuts for Shohei.
Well, it's just Christian Zaczek sound like a Japanese guy?
Oh, yeah. I met him. I think I was over there 2 years ago. Yeah, I did.
Scott, could you just post any thoughts you have over in the comments so we can understand them more clearly?
Okay.
All right. That is the highest price ever paid for any sort of sports ball from any sport, any era, any country, ever. I mean, really, and that's not that big a deal. I mean, if it's the ball that, the shot heard round the world ball or something like that.
Yeah.
Then
I mean, it had never been done. It's an incredible feat, but it's just not something anybody had ever really even thought about much until Jose Canseco.
Yeah, it was, 40?
Yeah.
All right. So now let's take a look at this new creation from Jimmy John's that Murph wanted us to look at here. This is called the Pickle Witch, guys.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
Okay. It does look good, but it can't be very big, right? Unless Jimmy John's has figured out a way to grow cucumbers the size of a bread loaf. Right? I mean, that's a really little sandwich, right?
Well,
it is, and it would be like slippery. Like all the stuff would probably slide off. I can't imagine it's easy to eat.
It would smush between the pickles.
Glad you asked, AD, because of course I'm so excited about this. I've done research. They hollow out the pickles so that it keeps the middle contained.
The inside of the pickle is the good part.
Well, there's
So
some
now
of
it's
that
just-
left,
it's just
but they
pickle
hollow
skin?
it out some. It's going to be great.
Will they fill it with mayo or something and then?
I tried the chicken Big Mac for the show, Murph. I think you need to try the
Yeah, you should try this,
Pickle
Murph.
Witch.
Yeah, get back to us on this.
Yeah, I'll
Do
try
some-
the Pickle Witch
Get
for
out in
sure.
the field there. Do
Can't
some
wait.
research. In New Jersey, the family of Addison Jenkins is seeking justice after discovering they went to his viewing. They opened the casket, and it's not him. It's somebody else dressed in his clothes.
Wow, this is a movie plot. This is a true crime story.
Imagine how many funerals in history have not had an open casket. how many mistakes have been made.
What if like
we don't know
Addison
about.
Jenkins is black and it's just there's a white guy in there or something?
It's a 400-pound white dude squeezed into a size 38 sports coat.
Remember that movie Murph, Ruthless People, when Danny DeVito is hoping that Bette Midler, his wife, is dead, and he goes to the morgue to identify her body. They pull back the sheet, and it's this black guy, and he's like, "That's not her." And he's hoping that it was her.
He's so disappointed.
Yeah.
It's not her.
That's a funny one. The family was shocked and heartbroken to find another body wearing Jenkins' items, prompting them to file a lawsuit, accusing the funeral home of negligence and mishandling human remains. That is big trouble for them. I hopefully they just thought to check the other casket.
Hopefully.
According
Hopefully
to
they didn't burn him up.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Oops.
God. That's probably the first panic, right? That you you burned him up, or B, you already put him in the ground.
He's still dead.
Yeah, I mean, right. He is still dead. What? Do they start with that? Okay, I got some good news and bad news. Which one you want first? Okay.
The bad news.
The bad news is we have misplaced your loved one.
What's the
Misplaced.
good
We'll
news?
find- The good news is there is no change to his condition.
He's still
just
dead.
He's just as dead, lost as he would be found. All right. According to Ask Man, the definition of handsome has changed quite a bit over the last 25 years. Some of the new things that women now believe help define a man as handsome include manscaping. It was unheard of before.
I do it.
It's now almost expected that a guy at least trims up his groinal area and preferably tames the rest of his body hair. And this is so pronounced when, like, Murph was showing those pictures of him in the Saturday Night Fever outfit. And I think, like, Travolta had body hair, like, airbrushed in, to make him hairy. Remember the Bee Gees?
The 70s was the hairier
wanted,
the
like,
better.
The men wanted like a nest of chest hair and then set like the gold chains on top of it, so the chains kind of bounced.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. You wanted that, like, those chains to kind of bounce on that nest of hair like it was sitting on a mattress. Tattoos. 25 years ago, they were taboo. Those are two weird words to put together in a sentence.
Taboo,
and
tattoo.
taboo. Yeah. Also considered rebellious back then. Now they're just a trend and accepted almost anywhere.
By the
with
way,
the exception of
taboo tattoo, Andy. That's a name for a parlor. If that's
Taboo
not taken,
tattoo,
we should franchise
or
taboo
band.
tattoo
or a band. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Actually, the other day, while we were doing the show, I looked over in the comments, and Rob Hammerschmidt, the former drummer of Johnny Mayflower and the Love Pilgrims, was
drummer,
participating in the comments. Yes.
So
I want to hear some of that music.
Have you asked him if he has anything on cassette tape or 8-track or whatever, the reel-to-reel?
I've not.
Talk to the Hammerschmidt.
Talk to the Hammer. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't. It would have been on like a giant VHS tape or something like that.
Good.
Okay. Cosmetic procedures. It's so more acceptable for men to have that. Cosmetic surgery, even. Not just for women anymore. Skin care. Today's man is more aware of the importance of moisturizing, that kind of stuff. Do you put on? I put lotion on my face every day.
I do too. I always I make sure it has sunscreen in it because
Yeah.
I don't want any more skin cancer.
Oh yeah, good point. And then total body deodorant, like
a
Axe
body
body spray. Yeah, which is, I think, I don't use that, but I think like the kids do these days.
Do you spray that? Do you say Axe body spray? Do you spray that
when
your
you're
underarms
naked
as
or like
well?
on your clothes? I mean, when do you, Scott? You're relatively hip, or at least you try to be. You put it down there.
Get your crotch out of the camera. Get your crotch out of the camera.
You spray down your entire crotch?
This is why some people are not watching on YouTube.
And why some people are.
All right. From the files of It's Gross and I'm Not Interested, but I'm going to watch it anyway, we bring you this.
If your poop is like hard lumps, similar to nuts and difficult to come out, this means you have constipation. If your poop is like hard sausage, difficult to come out, then you have constipation. If your poop is like a thinner sausage with the cracks on the surface, this means you have quite a good stool. If your poop is like thinner sausage, smooth, elastic like a snake, then you can be proud. This is perfect. If your poop is separated in small, soft pieces, this means you are lacking fiber. If your poop is loose like porridge, this means you have mild diarrhea. If your stool is greenish like water, this means you have intestinal infection.
Jeez. Poop. Your poop. So snake is what we're after, and what this tells me is that
cracks on the surface. How close are they looking?
If pooping a snake is the goal, then Bryce Miller deserves some kind of national recognition.
Oh God, Murph. You're going here with this story?
It's too late in the show.
Yeah.
It's too late in the show. I got to go to work.
All right. From the files of In Some Universe, the person who wrote this would be God. We bring you this. Listen to this. I can't quite see it with the whole thing with the banner on it, but look at this. I'm going to read it for everybody. This is a note taped to the wall of the bathroom, and it reads, "To the asshole who put mustard packets under the toilet rim. Nothing in this world would give me more pleasure than finding out who you are, digging up your childhood pet, and beating you with its corpse."
Wow.
Somewhere between wiping mustard off my balls and removing my now yellow boxers, I realized that this injustice cannot go unsettled. For the rest of your life, in your most private moments, know that the only thing preventing a dysfunctional veteran from waterboarding you with mustard is the knowledge of your existence. I hope you stub your toe every day for the rest of your life.
Wow. That's a hell of a note. That's a good
That's
note.
a top turnbuckle, just flying elbow drop of an insult, angry, burn the earth, pissed off letter.
It's a good
We'll
writer.
finish with this. Today's stupid criminal. He's from Florida. Jeremy Lang was arrested last week for a Pensacola church burglary. I had not seen Jeremy's picture before this, but arrested for a Pensacola church burglary. He now faces additional charges related to a series of break-ins. Lang was initially arrested for burglary, along with charges of drug possession, obstructing justice, gun possession, and possession of burglary tools. Police reported that 7 church burglaries occurred between September 24th and October 12th. Investigators also discovered suspicious internet searches on Lang's phone, including questions to Google like, "Where do church keep money? Do churches have safes? And how to cut a shirt into a mask."
Those were the Google searches. Where do church keep money?
He was voice to text, maybe. I don't know. But
yeah, maybe. We've lost Scott.
Does this work?
That's your more, everybody.
All right, it is time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD squared.
Powered by Game Day and Men's Health. I've been getting my testosterone shots. My brother, who lives in Colorado, reached out to me this week, and he was like, "Hey, how's that working? I've been thinking about that." So he's going to go check out the Game Day there in Fort Collins. You can check out the Game Day in Ankeny. That's where I go. Also in West Des Moines or North Liberty if you're on the eastern side of the state. It is Friday, so some parental advisory is necessary. None of these bleeps are necessary. It's all innocent conversation. Almost all of it this week was had right here on this show, but I have placed bleeps to make you hear things that aren't actually being said. So what you hear is on you, not on us. Thank you to Jimmy Kimmel Live for the idea. It's This Week in Iowa, unnecessary censorship.
A woman in California has filed a lawsuit. She alleges that caused severe damage to her vocal cords, her esophagus, and her nostrils. She's seeking over $35,000 for medical expenses, lost income, and damages, claiming the dick was unfit for human consumption.
Liberty take a 2-1 lead thanks to Sabrina Ionescu.
Sabrina Ionescu with the biggest in Liberty history.
Sadly, is a lot nicer than mine. It's got a gigantic 11-inch dick. But yeah, it's worked on me so far. It's going to be hard to give it back.
Did you say gigantic 11-inch? Okay, noted.
Friend of mine started selling at her retail job. She started making $7K a month from just that alone.
He's an idea man. That's just one of his many ideas. Tuna fish.
It's hard to see the rest of that game without being obscured by those big dicks that Central Florida had. I mean, they had a whole bunch of them.
Oh, wow. The new photos are the experience is definitely improved watching through YouTube. My goodness. Yeah. That was great. I don't even know where you came up with some of those, AD.
Yeah, me neither.
All right. Scott, shame we couldn't hear from you today.
Sorry, guys. I'll fix my microphone next week.
Andy, not to pick on
Have
Scott,
Eric
but
come over and fix all your shit over there.
This is a guy that made a successful documentary over 20 or 30 years. And
how do you make a ZILF commercial and you can't figure out a microphone for you?
Every week, he's either the mic is falling or the camera isn't hooked up or the cords are tangled or the mic is on mute.
But I've had Scott School ready every week. So...
wish you would take your own school. Quickie Poll results are presented by WCI Pools and Spas. 730 votes.
Yeah, a lot of votes on this one. Iowa's 5-year struggle at quarterback is mainly due to what? Recruiting, development, playing the wrong guy, or the offensive scheme. 45% say development. 30% say it's the offensive scheme. 21% say recruiting the wrong people. And then about 6% say playing the wrong guy.
Have a great weekend.
We love you all.
Okay. I thought you might be talking and we just couldn't hear you. Andy, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your days off. See you Sunday.
We'll do that. Hawkeye fans, enjoy your game, and Cyclone fans, enjoy the weekend off.
Yeah, I'm going to be over there tailgating. We'll tell you how that goes. Thank you for being part of Murph and Andy. Search Iowa Everywhere to find us and the other shows on the Iowa Everywhere platform. It is local. Please like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you would. And we are back Monday, and we hope you are too.